Egyptian journalist and human rights advocate Hossam Bahgat, he's been freed from detention mid-Tuesday. He was arrested and questioned by military intelligence Sunday in a move that elicited widespread condemnation. His release comes just hours before demonstrations were planned to take place in London and in Cairo calling for his freedom. Bhagat was accused of internationally broadcasting false information, an act punishable with jail time, Nik, as well as inciting insecurity. So when you condemn El-Sisi's government, jail time ultimately follows. That's what we're seeing here in his case. He has been released. This is developing. It's tentative. This is the information that we have. But these planned demonstrations that were set to take place, and here he is freed. What do you make of this, the government's move to do this?
Well, actually, El-Sisi has given presidential pardons to 100 prisoners so far,
including the Al Jazeera journalist.
Including the Al Jazeera. Yeah, exactly. So I mean, he's putting on the facade, right, that he wants to get all the people who shouldn't be in jail out of jail following the revolution. But we're talking about a lot of people, mind you, who are in jail in Egypt for simply wearing revolutionary scarves or bearing flags or even being at protests, for example. But I mean, look, it's easy for us to sit here, criticize Sisi for not having a truly democratic country, for putting people in jail, for using threats of the safety of the Egyptian people and exploiting them in order to roll back political freedom. We can say that here easily, but at the same time, we have to understand the region they're in. Well, I know. That
can become criminal in and of itself,
yes.
Inciting insecurity. And let's not forget that Bhagat, he started this this Egyptian human rights-based initiative, a personal rights-based initiative, and he was a writer for Mada Masir as early as 2014. So an outspoken human rights journalist in and of itself, and I'm understanding what you're saying, that that's not necessarily a crime, but at the same time, that's exactly what it is, throwing him in jail, these trumped up charges. And I feel like the only reason that he was released is because of the demonstration and the outpouring, like we saw with the Al Jazeera journalists, for example.
Right, I mean, we see it a lot, but the only thing that I wanted to get at was really, I mean, look, again, it's easy for us to sit here and judge, but at the same time, there's millions of Egyptians who live in fear that their country is going to end up like their neighbors. Libya, just right next door. You look a little farther, Iraq, Syria. I mean, there's reports that ISIS is inside of Egypt. So again, it's easy for us to judge, but at the same time, they're facing grave danger, and they have to be really on top of things. And unfortunately, I think rolling back political freedoms is part of that. And I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. I'm just saying we have to keep those things in mind when we judge a very strict government that we might call a regime, right? Because it's hard to just jump into democracy like that for Egypt.
I hear you. Well, the UN High Commission for Human Rights calling for his release, as well as Amnesty International saying it was a clear signal of the Egyptian authorities to resolve to continue their ferocious onslaught against independent journalism and civil society. This is tentative information. It is still developing, but it looks like Hossam Bahgat has been released for now.